check this out. This is pretty cool. Assembly instructions. All the tools included in the box. And a bag of gummy bears. I mean, this is off to a great start. Day 2, I got about an hour of work done yesterday, plus or minus. The unboxing was a lot of fun. I had a blast digging through the instructions and looking around. I probably wasted 30 minutes. But, you know, worked on it for about an hour yesterday. Got this far. This is pretty much the frame called the Y-axis. I'm wrapping up chapter 2. There are 8 chapters in this instruction manual. So I definitely have a little ways to go. Hold on. And surprise, it was a scam caller. Anyways, about an hour, got this Y-axis made. This is some good thick material right here. You can see this is nice and sturdy. Now that I've built these pieces, it all works out pretty well. I'm looking forward to the sturdiness of this thing. Can't say enough kind words about the instruction manual. They have these cool little guides for the parts, so you can put your screws next to them. Those are to scale, so you can tell which screws are which. Really cool thing, and they're also labeled by which chapter you are, so you can see I just finished, I'm finishing up the Y-axis, chapter 2. Pretty cool way to put a manual together. Also, the gummy bears were a nice bribe. They included all the tools, which I think is super cool. And I'm having a really great time putting this thing together. I look forward to getting to printing. But like I said, an hour in, I'm estimating 4 or 5 more hours, so we'll see. So this has been my first little confusion. I actually undid this to fix it, and then realized that I had mistakenly thought that I had made a mistake, and I was right the first time, so I had the pleasure of undoing it and putting it back. But in this picture right here, it shows these little slidey things on the top, and that is the old configuration. It specifically says, note that their position differs based on the black or silver PSU. And I have the black, which is the newer one, and I was going off the picture instead of fully reading the instructions. So there's a lesson. Read the instructions as well. These instructions are flawless, so when in doubt, just reread it, I guess. The last little bit of time was spent getting this motor rigged up with this gridded belt. Getting these ball bearings in here and set up just right and tightened just enough, as well as a little restrictor plate. This tricky part down here was where the union of the belts, the belt holder and the belt tensioner, and that got a little bit tricky, but we got it figured out, and I think I got it tightened enough and not too tight, so I'll take it. making good progress. During that last chapter, I ended up with 3 extra little M10s and not 3 of the M18s that I feel like I was missing. But fortunately, they have a whole bag of spare parts with the little key to code. That's to scale, so you can actually lay the screws on there and find out exactly which one you're pulling out. So I think, no harm, no foul, I am moving on, and hopefully I don't end up having screwed something up without having noticed. I went back and double checked all my screws and rethought everything, so I'm hoping that I'm not messing anything up. Motor. That's how you know I'm getting close. Don't want none of that. So I've got chubby hands, and something that I have learned to do when trying to get something like that into a small screw is use these needle nose pliers, and you can take your little piece and get it right where it's supposed to go without having to use these big old fat fingers. Pretty useful. All right, frustrating news. I've been assembling this for a while. That extruder piece needs to rotate 90 degrees, and I can't rotate it 90 degrees, barely, because of a little thing. At the back, I might have to take this whole thing apart just to twist this and make all the pieces fit back together. But it's time for a birthday dinner for my buddy Alex, so I gotta go put my stuff down, and I gotta come back to this tomorrow. I really hate leaving a chapter mid-finished, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Bye-bye. Woo! That was not fun. Actually, it took me 2 days to do that last chapter. In case you can't tell, I'm changing clothes. I'm busy, so I've been doing a lot of different chapters on a lot of different days. But we made it happen.
As you can see, this thing's really starting to come together, but I've got all these wires dangling out. And I think these next couple steps is going to get this all tucked away. Time to get my electric work on.
My man Aaron here is helping me solve this thing. The wiring got pretty complicated there at the end. Needed 2 brains, but we are very, very close. Just a few more little plugs here, and then we are calibrating.
Well, that is most certainly not a good noise. So we fixed the problem by going back in and tightening down the belts. It turns out that as the belt was coming and going, the teeth on the belt was slipping on the motor. That's what caused that terrible noise. Once I got the belt tightened down a little bit more, now it all moves pretty smoothly. So at this point, I got another error, and my issue was that it would try to print and then would immediately just stop. I looked it up, and my little filament sensor in there was unable to detect that there was filament coming out of my extruder, and it was because it was plugged into the wrong slot on the motherboard. Now, as you can see, I am making printing happen. Took a few attempts to try to get my first layer squished just right, but you have to adjust that Z-axis. Still a little loose, not quite enough squish, but I'm certainly making progress. It took more than one attempt, but those right there I would call successful prints. Now on to some fun stuff.